It's the Fellowship of the Geek Show, a weekly podcast about comics, the comic book industry, and other geek pop culture. Music courtesy of Manny the Martyr. And now, on with the show!
Hey there, everybody. It's the Fellowship of Geeks podcast. My name is Thomas Schick, and joining me for this episode is Mike Marlowe.
Hey, gang.
Les Webster.
Hello.
Do that again, Les, because I interrupted you.
No.
Wow.
No hi for you.
You get one hi, that's it.
I did.
No Coke. Pepsi.
Go ahead, Les.
I'm holding to it.
Okay. And Liz Newman.
Hi. I said it for you, Les.
If you
Just
got it,
keep
you got it. Okay.
Just keep all of that in so everybody knows what the fuck's going on.
I'm going to have to, right?
Oh, God. I hope to God y'all are doing okay out there, because I don't know about us.
More so than normal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I apologize for no episode last week. There's a lot of us, there's a few of us that are under the weather, some more than others. But we're playing through it. So, what's been going on in your corner of the galaxy?
Well, I was one of the sickos. Oh, no, I wasn't this time. Yay.
Well, you are a sicko, but
Right.
You are
Well,
now.
I got sick this weekend. But I did get a chance to watch quite a few movies. I was reading an article on M. Night
Shyamalan.
Shyamalan. And they were saying, it was talking about the Last Airbender. Now, there's been a couple of the Last Airbender movies. His movie happened to rate a 3 on Rotten Tomatoes. So I was like, damn, I don't think I've ever watched a movie that's been a 3 on Rotten Tomatoes. You know, I did see that one. I won't go back and watch that one again. I'm not a masochist, you know.
For
But
those of you who are not familiar, Rotten Tomatoes uses a 100 scale.
yeah,
3 is really low.
3 is very, very low. Well, I didn't think much of it till I got on Twitter, and they played a clip from a movie. And you know how they get you? They get you like 5 minutes of this movie, and it's like, well, damn, I've got to figure out what's going on. And I found out that it was M. Shyamalan, whatever his name is.
Mhm.
And so it was like, okay, you know. So I went ahead and I watched that one. That one was called Trap. It was okay. Oh wow, a lot of nepotism. It takes place at a concert, and the girl singing at the concert's not that great. I mean, she's not bad, but she's not like pop star. So I'm like, wow, you know, this is an odd pick, you know, especially how long they're at this concert. Well, then she winds up leaving the concert and winds up being like a main character, you know, in this story that's going on and everything else. And she's not. I forget the lead guy's name, but he was really, really good. Really, really
Josh,
good.
it's Josh. Oh God, I forgot his last name. He was in Halloween
Is it like
H2O,
Thurin?
and then
Hartnett?
Hartnett. Yes,
Hartnett.
yes.
He is really good. He reminded me a lot of Ritter. I don't know why. Just he was playing like a psycho part in this, but we didn't know that at first. We figured that out probably 10 minutes into the movie that he's a psycho looking for. But this whole time he's got to get out of this concert without the cops getting him because he's a serial killer and they've tracked him down to this place. So he takes the singer girl and she winds up in his home. But with how good he was and how good he's pulling this, double personality and, everything else off. And then you have her next to him. It's like, why did they pick her? This is bad. So I wind up looking up, because then him, like I said, he kept reminding me of Ritter, not necessarily Ritter, but maybe Ritter's son, Josh or
Jason.
something like that.
Jason
Jason, there
Ritter.
you go. So I looked it up. Well, the singer is Shyamalan's daughter. So it's like, oh, makes sense. Especially with how long they were at this concert. I will say that the concert part for me was very brain rotty. You I there was a couple of things that happened there that pay off at the end, but when you get to the end of the movie, it's kind of like, okay, that was a pretty cool 10 minutes. But did we really have to go through 2 hours of that to get to the 10 minutes that, he's good at twists, but this twist was just it didn't pay off, It was a good twist and it was kind of like, okay, but it didn't pay off for the length that he made you go through to get to that. And you
Well,
kind of already saw it happening anyway, so it was kind of a wah wah when it got there.
Well, and
know,
that's the trick with twists is that sometimes they don't land, and
sometimes they don't.
that's why his career has been so up and down.
yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, unfortunately, a lot of his have been bad. Yeah.
yeah.
hmm
So that got me on a quest of what is his worst movie? His worst movie was Airbender, they say. Now, see, here's where I might piss a lot of people off. Airbender was bad, but I didn't see it as a 3% bad. I think anytime, we
5.
see this with the comic book movies and live, yep, it, people don't understand that sometimes what you can put down on a paper and draw, it doesn't translate very well over in the real world. You've kind of got to change it a little bit to get it to even look right. For one, we're talking about flying poos and stuff, So, you know, there was a lot he was dealing with, and also you're also taking Avatar ran for what, 4 years on Nickelodeon? So you're taking all these episodes and
Oh,
you're
and it was an anime
cramming it
before that,
down.
wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're cramming it down into 2.5 hours. So he kind of changed a little bit of the timeline. Okay, he changed a lot of the timeline up, but the way he made it go, it kind of flowed a little better than the way the cartoon you waited a week. With kids, you're doing good if they remembered what you even spit at them last week. So you get away with a lot more with that than you can when you squeeze it all together and play it all at once. So there was a few downfalls. I mean, he did change a few of the storylines that were kind of like, but all in all, it wasn't bad. I do like the last one that came out a lot better. They handled the timeline a little bit more stricter and, character design and that kind of thing. But his was I think they're being rough, but we all know how critiques of comic book movies and stuff can be. When
Right.
people
Anime
love the
fans are
source,
rough anyway.
very they absolutely love the source, and that's awesome. But you know,
And
sometimes it just can't translate over to the real world well.
and American adaptations of anime have tended to not go over real well in general. I mean,
Mm-mm.
it's something that's hard to do to begin with, but then that what little even if they don't make a lot of attempts to Americanize it, it's still usually enough to make it jarring to the fans, and so the fans react poorly to it.
Yep. The only one that I have heard really good things about has been One Piece. I haven't read a lot of One Piece. My son is absolutely totally into it, he knows all of it. But what Netflix did is they got the writer of that to come in, and they're like, help us. And he did. And if there was anything that his characters wouldn't do, he was kind of like, wait a minute, you can't have him do that because of this. And so when you have that person to keep you on board, when it finally came out, it translated well to his fans because it was him.
Right.
That was his story.
That's cool.
But a lot of times you get, they cut that creative out. Oh, well, we're going to write a better story. You're going to write a better story than the original. Good luck with
Right.
that, because now you're
Probably not.
stepping on toes.
Right.
You're making a movie because people love it.
Right. And
So
yeah, if you're making your story, making it into your story, then you're going to lose people right off the bat.
right off the bat, yep. So I think that's kind of where he fell in with the Airbender. It was a good story, but it wasn't Aang. It wasn't our Airbender story.
Right.
So, that kind of fell flat.
Sure.
But then I watched one called Caddo Lake. Wow. I'm still trying to wrap my head around this movie. It's one of those. He twisted things so well that I didn't even know it was being twisted, if that makes sense. I mean, once I don't know how to describe this too well without giving away the payout, and I don't want to give off the payout, but there's a little girl that goes missing at the very beginning of the movie, and it's on Caddo Lake, which is they've actually filmed there on Caddo Lake, which people who don't know, that's the border between Texas and Louisiana. So it's all swamp. I mean, lots and lots of dead swamp area. Well, it all takes place. They shot it out there, and it kind of goes into a little bit of the history of the oil mines and that kind of thing, but not a lot. I mean, just enough to explain how the time period of Caddo Lake. Well, once the little girl goes missing, it kind of sets things off of different things that have happened at here, like mysterious things that have happened. And the story takes place. And once they kind of show you a glimpse of what they're doing, you're probably a good, I'm going to say about an hour and a half into the movie. And once it's like a time thing. Once it clicks to you what's going on, everything, it's like cylinders in a lock. Everything just starts falling into place, and your mind's just going, "Oh my god, how did you miss this?" It even when the movie was over, it's like I said, it's one that you kind of have to sit there and think, because the way the stories interweave together made a whole different story. And it I don't know. Like I said, I have never been like that mind bent in a while.
Cool.
Because I totally did not see it coming. I thought it was going to be, a story about Cadillac, a little girl goes missing. And wow, like I said, he played it well, but it wasn't like in Sixth Sense, the way he did Sixth Sense, once he did the famous line of, I see dead people. If you remember, he kind of took you then backwards in the movie of, remember when this happened, and remember when this happened, and remember when this happened. So you kind of was like, wow, he fully explained that whole twist to you. With Caddo Lake, he doesn't do that. There is no go back to, remember I showed you this. You have to remember he showed you that. So it's definitely one, if you watch it and enjoy it, you're going to have to go back and watch it a second time to see where you went wrong.
Mm.
Because I was totally off on this story. Like I said, I can't even tell you what the element of the twist is, because it'll give way too much away. It's that kind of twist. So If you
Yeah,
get a
no,
chance to watch it, it's really, really good. Like I said, it at first when you're watching it, it's kind of like, I maybe I'm just not getting this, or maybe I'm not watching enough. I don't know. But that's the way he kind of wants you. He wants you in that state because when that twist happens, all of that other stuff makes sense almost immediately. And you're like, wow, good play. You got me. So
cool. So
definitely
he
that
actually can still do it.
he still can
Mm-mm.
do it. That one's not too old. I think it came out right before Trap did. I think Trap is his recent, or on
Yeah,
streaming, anyways. I think Trap
yeah.
is recent.
Trap's within the last year or two because I remember talking about it on the podcast. I saw a trailer and like this looks interesting. But the thing is, even the freaking trailer kind of teased that Hartnett was playing a serial killer.
Yeah, I think the trailer shows you looking on
Mhm.
his phone
Yeah,
at the
he's
person
looking
he
at
has
yeah,
locked up.
yeah.
That happens like in the first 10 minutes of the movie. So
So
he wants you to know who he is
yeah,
because they
yeah,
found a receipt, only half of a receipt though, which showed that the guy who was the killer had bought a receipt and he was going to be at that concert. So like SWAT shows up. I mean, the whole place is surrounded. So the whole story of the concert is basically him trying to figure out how am I, I'm caught. So how do I get past this? And it's always trying to stay one step ahead of the cops and
yeah.
because
I still want to see it because I think because Hartnett looked good from what I saw.
he's
I've heard
great,
and I've heard he was really good in the film. So
really great. Because when he's in dad mode, I mean, he played a true psychopath. When he was in dad mode at the very beginning, it was like, oh, he's a really good dad. And then you find out he's a serial killer, and you're like, oh, I'm a really bad judge of character. But I think a lot of the people who run into him at the concert and stuff probably had the same ideal I did. Oh, he's a really nice guy. But they say that, Ted Bundy, John Wayne Gacy, all of them were like gentlemen and nice and.
yeah, I mean
They,
Mhm.
Ted Bundy was the ladies' man. That's how he did what he did.
yeah.
He was a good looking guy and on all that. So
Hmm. Well, and people are like, appearances don't matter, but they do.
Mhm.
Because in
They
this
do.
case, people looked at him and he's a clean cut guy, and oh, he can't be cut people apart, and he was.
You sure can.
Yep. So that one was definitely interesting. Um, and I also have been finishing up Countdown. We're almost done with that. Um, I still swear they started a new season and didn't tell us, so either this is going to end really quick or this is going to be the story that's going to cliffhanger us. So I don't know. I do know that since it's been on Amazon, it has stayed in the top 10 the whole time. Matter of fact, it stayed in the top 5 the whole time. So if that's a good indication of a season 2, maybe. I do think if it's renewed for a season 2, it's going to be true Amazon style and it's going to be a year or two before we get that season 2. Just, I mean, looking at Jensen's schedule, he's got Lot Rising coming out. He's got Gen B that's about to come out. I think he may be a guest appearance in that. He's got The Boys coming out. He's got Tracker that he's doing with Justin Hurtley. He's going to be more predominant on that one. And there was one other show that he's getting ready to do.
Busy
And
boy.
yeah, and possibly Batman. So
no, no, that's Pedro. Remember, Pedro's taking
right?
it.
Pedro Pascal, yep. So I definitely think just from his schedule alone, it'll be a year or two before they can do anything with that. So I don't know. I This is gonna be bad, but I was hoping I would like this show more than I am. I like it. It's good. but it's not that, oh my goodness, countdown's on tonight kind of thing. We do watch it when it comes out, but I've seen him do better. They're kind of having him play this jealous, rough, tough cop guy, and it's like, no, I've seen him do better. So I don't know. I may watch the second season, or I don't know. Of course I will, but yeah. But yeah,
You see
Like I
I'd
said,
branch out a little bit. So come on.
yeah, that one's got, like I said, an episode or two left. So it'll be
Say,
interesting to see,
say
you
that
know.
again, Les.
I'm just trying to discern the jealous part. He's playing
hmm
a jealous part in this in
hmm
Countdown.
Well, in the recent episodes, he is. The girl that works with him, that it looked like they were going to kind of get together, she wound up getting together with the brain surgeon that she got to help him. So it's kind of been a, you know,
Love triangle.
yeah. And I honestly thought the triangle, when they talked about a love triangle, I thought it wasn't going to be bad, you know.
Mhm.
Because when the two leads get together, that always works well for a show.
Yeah.
Doesn't it though? Gosh,
Oh,
See,
yeah.
you'd
I
think
I
they'd learned
hate
that
when
by now.
they play that sexual tension between the two, you know.
Mm,
I don't like that.
it's
I don't
killed a
know.
lot of TV shows
It
over the
has.
decades.
And the rapport he had with her was kind of cute without mucking it up that way, you know. So, yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I like it. It's just not been my favorite of his for sure. But other than that, I've just been watching like a lot of Mickey Mouse. A lot of Mickey Mouse. Yeah, it's the
Oh, I mean,
baby's
that could be
favorite
worse.
now. Yep. And they changed his voice again, so that's kind of weird. Even Leanne's like, "What did they do to Mickey Mouse?" But she grew up on the other one, and they had Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, and now this is, after all the different versions they tried to do, it didn't work. So now they're back to the Clubhouse, but it's Clubhouse Plus, and it's a different guy. It's not Stechnopolis, I think was his name. But it's kind of cool because Jim Cummins is still in this, and he still voices
Cool,
the same characters he did. So, but yeah, it's
cool.
just kind of weird because it's like, wow.
So who's doing the new Mickey Mouse?
Um,
Alan Tudyk?
Alan Tudyk. No.
He's voicing everybody
Um,
else right now.
Yeah, but he only does robots. I mean, come on.
yeah, I don't think I've actually heard of this guy's name. He does a good Mickey Mouse though. Not quite like the last guy did. His name is a tongue twister. I know his name, I just can't say it.
Well, welcome
But
aboard, Tongue Twister. Thank
yep.
you.
But he voiced Mickey Mouse through, this is gonna sound crazy. He voiced it through Ella and Leanne. And now, with Lily, it's a different guy. So
Hmm.
I can only hope the other guy went on to better things, you know.
Sure.
Because he's like I said, he's stuck with it for quite a while, you know. But he's done other voices too. Like so with Jim Cummings, so it's kind of, or Cummins, it was kind of like that's cool because hell, he's been the original, you know. Well, I won't say original, but he's been there a while, you
He's
know.
been he's kind of a legend among
Yeah,
in the voiceover community.
if not
Yep.
the original, one of the first few, to voice. I think he does Pete the Cat still on this one, and Goofy. So, but yeah, pretty cool. Oh, and one other thing, I've always been updating on the kids channels and that kind of thing. Nickelodeon back in Brandon's day used to have a thing they called Noggin, which
Mhm.
was it was on Nickelodeon, but it was, like separate programming from the Nickelodeon stuff. Well, Nickelodeon separated from Noggin and they put it on a completely streaming app, which was cool. Ella and Leanne watched like Paw Patrol and that kind of stuff on it. I still was able to keep it on their tablets for them and stuff. Well, last year they pulled the plug on that. And now they are talking about, I think it's Skydance that Paramount just bought. Went ahead and the people
Maybe.
who were handling,
Skydance bought Paramount.
yeah, Skydance has told the people who were handling Noggin that they'll go ahead and let them, continue with Noggin, not with them. If you want to do this as a side project and on your own, we'll go ahead and give you the license for this stuff. So it looks like Noggin
Well, that's cool.
is not only coming back to a tablet, but it's coming back to TV. So
Good for them.
that'll be, yep. And that'll be some more good educational programming for children, which is
Yep.
good because I've rattled off quite a few that we've axed and are no longer around here lately. It seems like
It's nice to
kids
get one back for a
programming,
change.
yeah, 'cause everybody's moving away from that. I baby stayed the night the other night and we were going to watch Minecraft and it was like, well, it's probably on HBO. Well, I didn't notice until then. HBO's removed HBO Family and HBO Kids now. So Warner Brothers is totally ick on kids. We're done with kids.
Yeah, there's no future in kids. I mean, come on, children are not. There's no future there. I'm just
There's
saying,
no future. Yeah.
none at all.
But it seems like Disney's hitting it out of the park. They just did the Iron Man, and now it looks like or they did Spider-Man first, and then they did Iron Man, and they're about to do another one in that same style, which is cool because it's cute and the little kids are liking it. So, yay, Disney.
Mm. Maybe that's the deal, is that HBO doesn't want to compete with Disney.
Right? Well, and it seems like here lately, Disney's kind of come back to listening to their consumers, Um, a lot of their kids programming that they've cut, they've definitely brought back a lot more, or not the old stuff, but they've given them new stuff to go over the old, and they're making it a little bit more, not this is a boy cartoon and this is a girl. It's, like with Iron Man, there's a girl on the team. On Spider-Man, there's a girl on the team.
Mm.
Um, so it's kind of neat that they're kind of separating this ideal because a long time ago, Disney was pretty much like, well, little girls don't buy toys. That was an interview that they gave. And it was kind of like, huh, I like toys. Maybe little girls don't buy toys, but us big girls do. So it's kind of neat that they're getting away from that kind of thinking to being like, okay, why can't this be for boys and girls? Why can't they like both? So if you like, Spider Gwen, she's here. If you like, Spider Peter, he's here. Or heck, even we've got Miles Morales. So they've even diversified them. So it's kind of neat. I'm liking the direction that Disney's going in. So
Cool.
yeah, that's all I got. Like I said, I've been watching a lot of TV. Sorry if that was a lot. I went from watching nothing to in bed
Uh,
for a few days. So
well, there's that. Yeah, it's an interesting motivator.
yeah, and we also did watch Minecraft, which no opinion.
Okay, good.
It's Jack Black and chickens.
Jack
So
Black and chickens.
yeah, and I
Yeah, that doesn't sell it for me either. So there you
yeah,
go.
I did not like Jason Momoa in that.
Oh wow.
Yeah, he just yeah, I didn't like him. Baby doesn't like him either. He's mean.
Ah,
Yeah. So yeah, like I said, it was for a kids show, absolutely cute. There was a few things I wish they would have left out, which would have made it a little bit more kid friendly. But little kids was not the demographic on this. I think it
Right.
was more preteens and teens that were. So yeah, it was all right. I can see why it did what it did at the box office for sure. Just not for me.
Right. That's okay.
Yep.
There's lots of people out there who aren't you.
Mhm. And Leanne loved it. So
There you go.
yeah.
That's what really matters.
Yep. And that was more of the age they were going for than me.
Hmm.
But no, and the other stuff I've watched, I'll actually talk about at the end of the show. So
Ooh, okay.
yeah.
Teaser.
Teaser.
More TV talk on the way, folks.
Yeah. It's not good TV though.
Well, that's okay. That's okay. It's fun to talk about bad TV too sometimes.
Mhm. Yep.
Alrighty, Mikey.
All right. Well, speaking of bad, actually, that's not true. Both of these movies were actually a little better than I expected them to be, um, given what they are. Because since we've had 2 weeks since our last episode, I've watched 2 movies. Um,
Uh,
the
Wow.
first,
I
I know it's
know. It's
shocking,
like,
right?
wow.
A whole movie a week. I mean, just to maintain the pace, that's crazy.
That's crazy.
Actually, usually, glimpse behind the curtain. Usually, what I do is I pick the better of the two when we're in this situation. But fuck it, I'm going to talk about both of them because they're both interesting. The first one, um, because apparently I started tracking down old sci-fi movies a little ways back, and apparently I haven't gotten my fix yet because I got another one here. This one is called War of the Satellites. It is from 1958, and it is directed by Roger Corman, starring Dick Miller, Susan Cabot, and Richard Devon. Um, this is, if you watch interviews with Roger Corman, eventually you will catch him telling some sort of story about a time when, because it was a standard practice of his, um, he or one of the people around him would come up with a really cool title, and then they would just commission somebody to write a movie based on that title. And this is definitely one of those cases. Because, like I said, this came out in 1958, which was immediately after. It was as quickly after Sputnik as they could actually get a movie out. And we're talking about Corman here. He'd crank a movie out in a few weeks, basically. And so he threw the title War of the Satellites to one of his writers, and this is what came out of it. The story here is that whatever passes for the American space program, they're not specifically saying anything about NASA. I don't think NASA had been formed yet in 1958. But they've sent several satellites, or what they call satellites, out away from or into orbit and beyond orbit, and they keep crashing into some sort of barrier, which in this movie they call the Sigma barrier. And so their main scientist guy, the leader of this whole Sigma project, is played by Richard Devon, and he's got some ideas. He's pretty sure he knows how to blast his way through this barrier based on the information they've gotten from like 10 failed missions at this. They're not screwing around. They're throwing money and equipment and people at this problem. And so there's a bunch of, I mean, most of this movie, I will warn you now, most of this movie is basically people in rooms talking. There's not a lot. There's some, you get to some spacey type stuff, some like sci-fi looking stuff near the end, like when they launch the final, I can call it the final mission because it's an hour into this hour and 20-minute movie. Oh, it's not even that long, but it's the last 15 minutes is them actually launching in one of these satellites. And I mean, this was a really low budget movie, not surprisingly, but they actually did a really nice job of kind of the launch of the final satellite, because they do this. It's launched on 3 separate rockets, and they do this actual sequence of this thing, these 3 rockets like breaking out into stages and then forming up into one larger ship in orbit. It's kind of a cool sequence for what it is. I mean, it's super low budget. It's models, and they're not great models, but it's really well shot, surprisingly enough. So it's kind of cool for that. And so you've got this guy has decided to be the leader, and some stuff has happened, and Dick Miller is playing one of his assistants and one of the astronauts. He's a key part of the team. And Susan Cabot is also one of the astronauts and one of the people working there. And so they're all launched up into space. And Dick Miller is absolutely certain there's something has happened to the leader, and spends basically 15, 20 minutes at the end of this movie on this spaceship heading towards this allegedly impenetrable barrier, trying to figure it out and stop him. Like I said, it's a surprising. I was kind of surprised at how good this movie was. It's got a fun story. It's not a complicated story. And this is when Corman does well, is when he doesn't try to complicate things. If he keeps it simple, and presents a few likable characters and even a nebulous threat like this. I don't want to spoil too much about this movie because I think it's worth checking out. But the bad guy is an interesting idea. The barrier thing is an interesting idea. How they get past it is kind of an interesting idea. Yeah, I spoiled a little there. They actually do succeed, but like I said, the whole ending happens so fast. It's not a big deal. But like, for example, Dick Miller does really well in this movie, and it's a movie that, I mean, I was reading some stuff about it after I watched it. He wasn't particularly comfortable in this movie. He didn't. I don't want to say he didn't get the character. He didn't think he fit the character as an actor, and he said so later on. He said, "Yeah, I didn't think this was going to work because the guy who's the leader of the project was a better leader, in Dick Miller's opinion, was a better leading man than Dick Miller." And the way they play off of each other throughout the movie actually makes it work pretty well, better than I think Dick Miller thought it did. So there's that. War of the Satellites. It's a lot more fun than you might think. And it's on Tubi, I believe. Yeah, I watched it on Tubi. Movie number 2. I went back to that list of obscure vampire movies to watch yet another one that I hadn't seen before, the Blood Spattered Bride. This is a 1972 film. It's actually it doesn't make any difference, I don't think, but it was shot in Spain. It's a Spanish film, but it is essentially a variation on the Carmilla story, which I'm pretty sure we've talked about in several incarnations in the past. And this one, I was actually, for a European film, this movie kind of got started quickly. One of my usual things when I'm watching something out of any country in Europe, is the way they pace things is a lot different. This actually moves pretty fast at the beginning, which surprised the crap out of me, because usually you wait an hour for anything to happen. But this movie, it's happening in like 10 minutes. I mean, you get sort of the meandering opening, but the meandering opening only lasts a little bit. It doesn't meander anywhere near as much as a lot of the old, obscure European vampire movies I've watched in the past. Um, and so this is the story of a newlywed couple. Um, the young bride realizes about a week into the marriage that she doesn't really like her husband all that much. And there's also another woman who is kind of on the periphery at first until she just sort of shows up. And the way she shows up is really weird, but you know, it's a weird European vampire movie, so we'll accept it for the moment. Watch it and you'll see how what I'm talking about is a very strange opening or introduction to her. Um, and it turns out in the long run, I mean, it's not a surprise. She's the Carmilla analog. And so the deal is that his family has all of this stuff in the past, and this Carmilla was an ancestor of his, and killed her husband. He, like, stabbed him to death horribly, and so the deal is the new one. They're very fuzzy on how she connects to the family and to the history. They don't really go into that, but there's a physical resemblance, and she's basically talking Susan, the bride, into killing her husband. And the other part about this movie that is really fun is that it ends in a way I actually did not foresee at all. It makes sense, but honestly, that's probably the thing that threw me, is that it was an ending that made sense in an interesting way. So this is a definite watch. This is definitely worth checking out. It is quite a bit of fun. It's got a certain level of tension to it most of the way through, which you don't always get in these movies. Sometimes these movies are just there for pretties, and this one actually has a little more substance to it than most of them. So, also on Tubi, by the way.
Cool.
Okay.
So what's left on that list?
Oh, I'd have to look it up.
Okay, well, you don't have to worry about it.
I think that maybe 3 left.
Okay.
I don't remember exactly which ones. Obscure ones, not. I mean, I think I've seen all the Hammers, and they're probably all European in some form or fashion, or really, really old or something. I don't know. I'll have to look it up and see. But yeah, I'll keep watching them.
You're welcome.
You knew your audience on that one for sure.
I saw the video and I was like, that's kind of interesting, and I was kind of curious on. I knew you'd seen all the Hammers. I think you've probably seen all the Hammer films, if not
There
pretty
actually,
close to them.
there was one on that list, one that was a Hammer film that I hadn't seen.
Oh wow!
But it was one that was kind of obscure, and I didn't realize it was a Hammer film. I had heard of it, but I hadn't realized it was Hammer. But yeah, so now I have. I don't know if I've seen every Hammer film, but all the vampire ones I have seen that I know of.
Okay, Les.
Well, I got in trouble this weekend.
Bum, bum,
A
bum.
little bit.
Well, other than the problem I had at the hospital, uh, I went to a movie, and my wife was extremely upset when I told her what movie I went to see. So, uh-huh. She who must be obeyed was upset because I went to see Nobody 2.
Ah, you went without her, huh?
Nobody knows.
So, being the dutiful husband, I sat down and had her watch Nobody, first one, which was really good. And I said, we've seen this. And she kept saying, no, I don't remember seeing it. So we sat and watched it. Afterwards, she said, oh, yeah, I remember this one. And I thought, oh, geez, come on, woman. So then I took her to see Nobody 2 on Sunday. And she was really thrilled with it. So I possibly saved my skin a little bit anyway. And
For now.
At least your marriage,
Yeah.
at least, huh?
once again, for now, yes. I recommend it. I think it was a good movie with Tom Hanks, or I'm sorry, Colin Hanks, and Sharon Stone, and Bob Odenkirk as the hapless little husband that was nobody, but he was extremely potent person. He could pull off stuff that others would that only I could imagine. I know that. So this is one I do recommend. And as we walked out, I pointed down the hallway and I told my wife, that's the next one I'm going to go see. And it is Honey Don't, which really looks interesting to me.
Hmm.
I've got two big movies to take in, folks. And hopefully you'll watch them and enjoy them.
Yeah, I remember hearing good things about Nobody when it came out, and so I'd seen ads for Nobody too. I was hoping it would be good.
Yeah.
Glad to
That's
hear
with
that it is.
Better Call Saul guy, isn't it?
Yeah, that's Bob
Oberdink or
That's Odenkirk.
Odenkirk. Yep.
I think it
And
sounds cuter as
Christopher
Oberdink. I like him.
Lloyd again. To me, that was
Cool.
major because they did keep the original cast intact. I thought that was pretty good for a movie that was done 4 years after the first one.
Cool.
That's pretty cool. I can see that one.
Probably took them 4 years to get their schedules lined up properly again, but busy people.
Oh, yeah.
With us.
Okay. Excuse me. Well, for me, I really don't have anything for right now. I was one of those that was a little under the weather, but I just don't have anything, so I'll do better next week.
We hadn't had a big bag of nothing in a while, so it's all
Yeah.
good.
Yep. All right. On that note, we're going to go ahead and take our first break, and then we'll get into this week's discussion. Welcome back. This week we're going to be just talking a little bit about what has been called the greatest newspaper comic strip of all time, isn't it? I read that somewhere. I don't remember, but I think I agree with that.
In my top 5.
I think we're all fans here.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And we are talking about Calvin and Hobbes, which is celebrating its 40th anniversary of its debut. I believe it was November of '85, somewhere around there, maybe in October. Okay, but
Yeah,
Bill
November.
Watterson. Okay, Bill Watterson's comic strip. So let's talk a little Calvin and Hobbes. What is it about this? What is it about this comic strip that you love the most about?
I liked the mischief and the make believe. Just, I don't know. I think it perfectly encaptured what a little high energy kid is like. And then in '93, I turned around and I had one of my own. So,
Fortunately, you had a guidebook.
yeah, because he definitely was my little Calvin. I think it's kind of neat too from when it started, when I first started reading it, as a kid, kind of growing up with it, it kind of made more sense. His parents started to make a little bit more sense, Um,
Mm.
some of the jokes that, were they were funny, but they just kind of landed a little differently.
Yeah, you'd seen it from both sides by then.
Yep. And it come full circle. Once I was that kid to now I'm the mom going, just go outside. You know, go touch some grass. But I also liked it because it was good, clean humor, being that most of this was printed in, well, all of it was in Sunday comics and newspapers and that kind of thing. If you had to keep it on a certain key because you never knew who was going to see it. So I liked it. It was good, clean fun, and you know, wasn't banned as a kid, so my parents must have liked it too. That's a lot in my house. But yeah, I would definitely put this one right up there with Peanuts for me. Every time the Sunday paper would come out, it was always the first couple of ones you had to find, and he was definitely one of those.
Oh, totally. I mean, and I say that, and it was. I was actually a little surprised going back looking at this that it only ran for 10 years. I mean, I knew it didn't. I knew it was limited, but I didn't realize it was only 10 years.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Isn't it like
But
reruns now? Or I don't want to say reruns, but kind of like what they're
Right.
doing for Peanuts, like a
I'm
repeat
sure
kind of.
if it's in there at all, then yeah, it's definitely reruns. Reprints, I guess, is a better term for it. But
Which is kind of weird because they said at the beginning of his career he didn't want that. That he fought hard for his spot in the paper. He always thought it was never enough. But he was pretty much when people would approach him about, oh, why don't we collect this and put it in a book? And he's like, no. So eventually gave out to that. But in the beginning, that's not what he wanted for this. So.
well, from what I understand, um, the first few years was a struggle to control the rights to his own stuff.
Mhm.
So I think he didn't want to do collections at first because honestly, he was never going to see a penny of it if he did.
Right.
And I can't blame the guy for fighting for that.
Well, even after he got the rights, he stayed
Yeah, and
just
he held off
complete.
for a while.
Yep. And they say still, if you ever see Calvin and Hobbes merchandise, I think he said they were thieves and liars. So don't ever buy the merchandise. The Calvin peeing on a emblem? No, that's
Yeah,
not.
that's not an
Yeah.
official. Yeah, there's no way that's an official thing.
Right.
He said that seemed like even more of a nightmare than the whole licensing rights, so he just never.
Right, and he's a very not public figure. Never had any interest in dealing with the public.
Mm-mm.
So
Even now,
yeah,
he's like very recluse.
yeah.
I think he's granted a couple of interviews. I think the first time he broke his silence, though, was when Schultz retired. And they said that he wrote something. I think he wrote something for Schultz after he retired and stuff, too. Yeah, he wrote a review of Schultz and Peanuts, the biography of Charles M. Schultz. So I'm taking it they were pretty close. Because that's pretty significant to be that quiet and then say something, then. But Peanuts, I guess Peanuts could crawl so he could walk. That was one of the original.
It was early,
I would,
and it was important too.
yeah,
I mean, there were way earlier, but yeah,
yeah.
Peanuts was one of the. It was a big success.
hmm
I mean, it didn't come along till the 50s, right? But
Well,
Yeah.
and if you think about it, Peanuts was always one of the comics. It's gonna sound crazy, but like the Bailey one, the Army Bailey. What
Beetle
was that
Bailey.
one? Beetle
Bailey.
Bailey. His comic was only 2 lines. I don't know how many panels that was, but it was only 2 lines. Peanuts and Calvin and Hobbes was always 4, which they considered half page, which wasn't half page of the newspaper, but they considered it what they called half page. So very few comics will get half page like that. So it said
Well,
a
and I was
lot.
reading, part of what I was reading was early on, that was something that Bill Watterson was fighting for too.
Because he didn't
Because
start half
yeah,
page.
they had right, no, not at all. And they had a structure, a layout that they were very strict, and they had to draw, all of the comic strip artists had to draw it using this structure, and he fought it like
Mhm.
mad, and basically until he won and got to do what he wanted to do.
Yeah. And once you get that name for yourself, you know, and from the newspaper's point of view, that's a lot of real estate,
hmm
and nobody knows you. So I would see them having to fight for that spot because you're early in the game. You definitely ain't no peanuts,
Right, right. Yeah, he had to basically pay his dues for a while to
Mm,
get to where he
yep.
had the clout to fight that.
And then after a while, it got to be, well, if you want him in your newspaper, this is the way it is.
hmm
He got to set his own terms. So that was also nice. And then it made me wonder, which this may break a whole egg, um, if he fought for his rights or to maintain his rights for his comic, did Schultz also, or
I didn't see anything about that. I was reading something that's specific to Bill Watterson, but
yeah,
I'm sure it had an impact.
yeah, or if
Um,
that's what made him want his rights like he had to? I don't know. I'll have to look
yeah,
that one up.
I don't know. There was a really interesting documentary, like 10 or 12 years ago, about essentially about Bill Watterson and Calvin and Hobbes. It's called Dear Mr. Watterson, and it was he actually, I don't think, had anything to do with it. I mean, at best he like said, okay, sure, go ahead and do it, but he wasn't in it at all. It was other artists talking about him.
Hmm.
It's a really interesting documentary, and I think it's think it's on Tubi right now. So it's really good. It's been a long time. It's been a while since I've seen it, and so they talk about some of that stuff in there. And it's been long enough that I don't remember a lot of detail from it, but
Yeah. Well, they said that was a pretty big fight. That
yeah,
it took a lot out of him. I think what took a 9-month sabbatical after he won.
yeah, which was rare
That
for
very rare.
for them to be that long. For them to take sabbaticals was fine, but it was rare for them to be that long.
Right. Especially after you won. You're talking about something that's daily,
Right.
and major weekly.
Right, and the usual practice was if a comic strip artist wanted to take a sabbatical, they had to pre-draw enough strips to fill the time.
Yeah. I don't think he did though.
I don't think he did either. That would be a lot of strips to do.
Mm-hmm.
But
And then he spilled in a few times for Opus. What is that guy's
Bloom
name?
County,
Yeah. And then they had
yeah,
teased it a few times for April that they were going to combine the comics and stuff, but I think he was just filling in for a friend.
yeah,
He went along with the joke, but
right.
he seems like one of those kind of guys that would be like, if you want to do it, you can, but I'm all right.
Yeah, I'm just gonna do my thing over here.
Yeah, I'll be like, yeah, sure, I'm doing that.
Mhm.
But it was kind of weird we got the Calvin and Hobbes cartoon because from what I saw, he really wanted to be like Bloom County, more of a political cartoon kind of thing.
Right, and it seemed like from what I was reading, that he had come, he had originally pitched and started drawing a different cartoon in which Calvin and Hobbes were kind of side characters
Hmm.
until it got suggested to him that he focus on them, and it kind of took off from there.
Yeah. And then he also
Which
lost a job
makes
because he wasn't. I mean, I guess that would be like coming from New York into Texas and then trying to write a political cartoon. Probably not going to land the same way here that it does in New York.
well, and you're not gonna have a good enough sense of the politics here to do that.
Right. And why it
So
wouldn't land.
right,
So I
right,
think that's why he lost his job. He just wasn't real familiar with the scene that was there and
right.
didn't, but it worked out, you know. Sometimes
Yep,
your
he
worst
found his
day
thing.
turns out to be your best. Which I'm glad he did go the Calvins and Hobbes route.
Oh, totally. Yeah, for me it was always kind of the fantasy element of it. I mean, I was I was not I was a kid who used my imagination, but I was never really actually all that imaginative. So to see such an imaginative kid and to see the people around him reacting to it the way they did, I think that's the part I always resonated with. Was I was I, I'm struggling to say that I was kind of a weird kid, but I was.
Yeah.
I'm trying to be nicer to myself than that in this moment for some weird reason, but I was kind of always the weird kid and kind of an outsider in my own space.
Yeah.
And I mean, if that's not Calvin in a nutshell, I don't know what is. And so, yeah, I kind of always related to him for that.
Yeah. I definitely had an imagination. I was the
Yeah,
youngest.
I was a
I
big
had to
reader, and
go play
so
by myself a lot. Me too. But see, I think that's how my imagination came into handy with me because when you're young like that and you have an active imagination and someone throws reading into that mix, you start to like visually see what you're reading, which made
Hmm.
reading a whole lot more fun for me because I did have that kind of mind where I could see it and kind of step in that world and play a little bit.
Right.
But the first
And
book I was introduced to was Alice in Wonderland. How hard would it be, yeah, not to step into that world and play a little bit.
sure.
So that helped. But I think too, it was kind of neat to see someone who maybe did have that same kind of imagination, you
Hmm.
know,
Hmm.
that it was okay and not weird.
Right.
But like
And
you,
there was
I've always been the weird kid.
and there was a certain degree of escapism to it,
Hmm.
which that was my thing. I wasn't that I was imaginative kid. It was that I was always seeking to escape.
Yeah.
Like I said, a stranger in my own space. And yeah, I mean that was what Calvin did. He was where he was, but he was always somewhere else.
Yep.
And he always had the loyal but clearly feline companion.
And little
Who
Susie there to nag him back into reality.
right? Whose presence was always in question because you never really knew. It was never made clear how real Hobbes was.
Yeah.
And yeah, Susie was. We all had a Susie in our lives, I think,
Yep. Much
one way or
needed.
another. Sometimes yes, sometimes no, but yeah.
Just to bring you down a little. Have you guys seen it was total fanfic, but it's when Calvin is in the hospital and I guess he's dying and his son winds up bringing like his son into the room and he gives his son, his grandson, the Calvin or the Hobbes and told him, keep an eye on that one but kind of patched the torch down to the littler one. But yeah, that one will make you cry.
It's a nice gesture. But
It
yeah,
is.
I remember.
Yeah. But I think it's also kind of the thing of that could never truly be passed down because all of that world was his imagination and no one's going to have the same imagination.
Right,
So,
but even to encourage the little one to have their own
yeah,
imagination.
or an
Mhm.
outlet for
Yeah,
that
something.
imagination.
Right. That's what you want to see. That's what I want to see anyway.
Yep. But I liked that they also kept it wasn't that he outgrew Calvin or Hobbes. Life happened but it seemed like that Hobbes stayed a part of that life. Was never put down because he couldn't see him anymore. I always hated that about the Santa Claus myth. Oh, it's because you don't believe he disappeared.
Hmm.
That's rude. He's still there. Not saying I believe in Santa Claus, but you know what I mean.
No, no, right.
No, go ahead, explain.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Please.
keep digging, Liz. Keep digging. No,
I
I'm
can
kidding.
hear the bell.
Right. That movie annoyed the hell out of me. But anyway,
Oh
we're not
man.
talking about that movie. We're talking about Calvin and Hobbes. See, and what Calvin and Hobbes, another kind of um, tangent to Calvin and Hobbes, and I'm trying to remember the kid's name. His name was Ralph. He was in the Warner Brothers cartoons. He was in the Looney Tunes. It was this one character. He was this.
Thinking Wiggum from
No,
Simpsons.
no, not Ralph Wiggum. Ralph. Shit, I can't remember. But he was the one with the really. Again, it was a really active imagination thing.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, there were two specific cartoons that I can remember that were starring that kid, and they were among my favorites. for a lot of the same reasons, and there's kind of parallels between that and Calvin and Hobbes.
Ever imagining he was like a space astronaut or something like that. I know what you're talking about.
A lion tamer one, or
I
he's in
think
the
I
jungle,
remember
jungle
that.
explorer or something like
And he
that.
had
Yeah,
like a little bitty dog, like a
I think there
little.
might have been a dog in one of
Yeah.
them. Yeah, I don't think it was both, but
Do y'all remember Fantastic Max? He was
no.
also another one that had the little alien guy. They did like outer space though, but he had the imagination like that, and his little alien guy came to life and talked to him and went on
Cool.
missions and stuff. I think that was the 80s. But yeah, I think I remember the one you're talking about now. He's like a clean cut little kid
Yeah,
doing all the
it's a
imagination. Yeah.
getting in trouble in school because of it and stuff. Yeah.
Right. Les, your thoughts?
I was impressed with the comic strip, and I thought very well of it. I thought it was some great ideas, and the only problem I had with it is, to me, there was nothing there that is something I could recall. There wasn't a specific strip that I could say, yeah, that I remember that one. And to me, that kind of lost it for me. I would like to have seen something that would define the whole strip. This came out a year or two after Farside.
I like Farside.
Farside was the strip that could tie everything in, and yet give you just an instance of, oh yeah, I know that one. I remember that one.
Well, Farside
Uh,
usually was just a panel, though, wasn't it?
yes, it was a single panel,
Yep.
and it ran for, let's see, it stopped in 19, so it ran for 20 years or something.
Hmm.
And then
That
it
would have
was,
been, yeah, that's more like 30.
Yeah.
and then it started back up in 20, 20 something.
Recently, last couple of years.
I like that one
So
too.
I'm always impressed with.
I follow that one and Calvin and Hobbes, so it comes up on my timeline.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't have to think as hard on the Calvin and Hobbes ones, but sometimes I have to stop and think on the Far
See,
Side one.
see, that's the greatness of Farside, though. Is yeah, I mean, there's usually layers, and it's all in
Yep.
one panel, and that's,
Yeah.
I mean, that in a way makes it more iconic right off the bat. I mean,
Yeah. Well,
with
and
Calvin and
sometimes
Hobbes,
they don't.
it's almost a journey.
Yeah. Well, they're spelling it out for you. With
Yeah.
Far Side, it's kind of hoping you understand the reference with the joke, with the picture, kind of, so it's kind of they're not spelling
Yeah.
it out for you.
It's an if you get it, you get it thing.
Yep. If
Whereas
not,
with Calvin, you're getting it from the perspective of an 8-year-old boy. So it's kind of, in its own way, a lot more simple because of that.
yep.
but still impactful.
But I do like seeing them come up because when I do, it's like, oh, I remember that one. You know.
Hmm.
Plus, it keeps my timeline cute.
There's that.
Yep. Mixed in with puppies and kitties, you know.
See, Les was just getting to the cute part. That's
Is Les doing that?
not
Yep.
necessarily, no.
I was waiting. You thought it was cute? Yep. I am glad that he changed his mind and collected his work. I should say collected his legacy because this will definitely be something that's around longer than he is. So, and it's a good legacy to have. I think I have a couple of the books.
Oh, I do too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably not enough, but I have some.
Yeah. I bought one well, it's been a few years now, but it collected a few of them because he's put out different volumes, and I think this collected a lot of it together. It was real nice, hardbound. I
Cool.
think Les suggested it to me. But I think that's about the time, too, is that comic book shop time when it was put out.
Yeah. I was so close. I was so close to evading being blamed for something, but okay.
Yep.
Okay.
No, it's a good blade. Like I
You
said,
try to get away and they just pull you back in.
yeah,
That's it. That's it.
I knew if you said it was a good read, I believed it. So
Well, them was the days.
I still think my favorite though was Dave that you suggested to me. That one was hilarious. I still go back and read that one from time to time with the robots.
Yeah.
Yep.
There are
That
what,
was hilarious.
It was.
two, two volumes of that? So,
Yeah.
Yeah, I have those some around here somewhere too. Those are awesome.
Those were. So what do you think, Thomas?
Oh, I love the strip. Uh, yeah, I do. His imagination is awesome, but his responses to his parents are too. They're smart ass enough, but they're not kind of disrespectful or anything like that. It's just, you know, that type of thing. That it's like stuff I would never have said to my parents, but
He was blunt
he
with
was
his
very blunt.
curiosity.
Yes.
Yeah.
Uh, and you talk about his imagination, about him, like he would make a bunch of snowmen and have them doing like being cannibals or something like
Yeah.
that. You're just like,
Like
where the hell did
barking
that
him.
come from? Right. It's like who would have thought that up? You know? So you mentioned Susie. What was the babysitter's name?
Was it Allison?
It may have been. But yeah, it's such a fun read, and they still
Rosalind.
hold up. Rosalind, that's it. Yeah,
Rosalind.
yeah,
Rosalind. Yep.
that's it. And the thing is they still hold up.
They do.
Hmm.
Because he didn't, you know.
Yeah, he didn't make any kind of topical
Mm-mm.
comments or anything like that. It was just
There wasn't a lot of pop culture or anything in it, you know.
right.
Yeah, they definitely didn't pay his babysitter enough.
Well,
He
she
was
didn't
like
take it.
our time Dennis the Menace with a friend. Although Dennis had a friend, but not like Hobbes, but that little curly-headed kid name
Of course,
Joey.
yeah, Hobbes being the voice of reason of the two.
Sometimes.
The real,
Sometimes he was the instigator and the stirrer, the pot stirrer, you know.
Again, that's the cat in him.
Yeah.
yeah,
Where he asks his mom, "What do you do with the tiger after you shoot it?" She says, "Well, you take it home and you stuff it." So he's in there with the refrigerator stuff. He can here, eat this. So I couldn't imagine being his parent. That I think James was close enough. Everyone had told me that if Bart Simpson was a real little boy, it would have been James. So he said I always thought he was my Calvin because he wasn't rude like Bart.
Right.
But that's also a difference in times, you know. Wasn't that why that you can't do that on television? Not why they were canceled. How they talk to parents and they were getting a little more gross. And you know, being a little kid with a tiger, I don't really remember him doing a lot of gross stuff either.
Well, in the weird occasions what he did, it was something like snowmen,
Yeah.
yeah.
which aren't hurting anybody and melt away soon enough.
Yeah. Might be something to mention to his therapist, but
Well, I mean, maybe.
that and he's talking to a stuffed toy, but you know.
Well, and claiming the stuffed toy talks back, that's actually the tricky part.
Yeah. But like he said, there was enough there that made you if maybe the parents just didn't get it, you know, the way he'd tackle him when he came in through the door and that kind of thing, you know. His mom had to see his socks get knocked off, you know. There was just enough wonder there, you know.
hmm Yep,
And
he did a
that's
really nice job of making it not entirely clear
Hmm.
what was really happening,
They did.
which helps.
and one of the things I always laugh at because it's like I feel it. I've been there. Is the look on Dad's face when he breaks the fourth wall? Calvin says something, and there's just kind of this blank look on Dad's face. He's staring at you, and you're like, yeah, been there.
hmm
Yeah. Or did you
hmm
hear that too? Yeah, not a lot of them would do that. Definitely have to look that documentary up.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's really good.
I remembered that there had been one, but I had forgotten about it. So yeah, I definitely want to check that out too.
It's on all of them. Amazon Prime, Zumo, Tubi, Pluto.
Yep, it's been around a while, so it's kind of everywhere at this point. Good stuff. And we would probably be remiss if we didn't make at least a brief mention of our old buddy David Pepose
Yep.
and his kind of tribute, we'll call it, Spencer and Locke,
Right.
Yeah.
which is kind of how we found David in the first place,
Right.
because it's a different take. It's a grown up take,
Yeah.
and it's
Like what Calvin would have been like grown up.
Right. Still with the imagination, but also with real world problems.
Yep. And responsibilities now.
Hmm.
Ooh. We need to have him back now that he's kind of pumped his name up a little more, huh? Just a little.
Yeah, we should check and see what he's doing these days. I haven't looked in a bit.
Well, I know he's still doing Space Ghost and Speed Racer, and God knows what else he's doing.
Yeah, there was a new one he just announced not too long ago. It sounded like another dream project of his. So
Cool.
good for him.
Hell yeah.
So, final thoughts on Calvin and Hobbes?
Big thumbs up.
Yep, definitely.
Track the
Definitely
stuff down.
iconic. Yep.
If you can find volumes, sit down and read them. They are
Yep.
good.
And he doesn't release a lot of them.
There weren't a lot of them. I
Mm-mm.
mean, like I
Right.
said, it only ran 10 years,
Yep.
which sounds like a lot, and it's a daily thing, so it kind of is a lot, but you know.
Yep. Yep. Definitely check it out.
Yep. All right. On that note, we're going to take a quick break and be back with geek news for you. Welcome back. It's time for Geek News for You. In this segment, we bring a couple of news items to the table for discussion. And this week, it's Liz and myself. And Liz, would you go first, please?
Well, I hate to bring up a yuck topic after something so wholesome that we just talked about, but this one kind of hit close to home. So I definitely thought it was worth mentioning since I do mention the kids programming and everything else. But I have mentioned quite a bit that my grandbaby is absolutely in Roblox. Um, she gets to go on there and play. There's all different kinds of games and stuff. And I had told you guys too before that I had thought about taking my 3D stuff maybe into Roblox, or it had been suggested to me to do that. And now I'm kind of glad I didn't. There is a guy, his name is Schlep. Um, from my understanding, as a kid, he was assaulted in Roblox. I guess I'm kind of old. I'm kind of trying to understand how abused and things online. I understand some of it, but I didn't understand fully his story. But it happened. And his parents wrote into Roblox and was like, hey, my 16-year-old was in your game. Or actually, I don't think he was 16 at the time. And this happened to him. Crickets. Nothing. So Schlep decided, you know what, this is bullshit because this is a kids game and people shouldn't be able to do this. So he formed Roblox is calling it a vigilante crew, and that's not. I'll get into that in a minute. Um, Basically, what he did is he started playing Roblox like he was a kid under the age of 18, like he was when he first originally started playing Roblox. And he had people approach him as a child and suggest inappropriate things. He had 6 of these people arrested. So, it was pretty bad what they were suggesting to do with a child. Once again, Roblox was giving all the Google Docs, they were given all zip drives, they were given the arrest reports. Crickets, absolute crickets. So after the 6th arrest, Roblox finally spoke up, and how they spoke up is the guy who is responsible for getting 6 predators out of this game, they banned all of his accounts. Predators are still there. but they banned the kid who was weeding these guys out and banning them. So of course this has made a lot of creators go, wait a minute, what's going on in Roblox world over here? Just to give you an idea, Roblox average active is the key word there. Active users is 380 million. That's a lot of people. 60% of that is under the age of 16. So if you have a guy where your largest platform is children and he's taking predators out of this platform, why are you banning him? Why aren't you praising this kid and giving him a freaking job? I mean, but that wasn't the route that Roblox took. Right now, it's been the CEO's response to all of this is if you feel uncomfortable with your child being online, log them out, which I am a firm believer in parents need to be parents and you need to stay on top of what your kids are doing online. Um, I always told my kids when it came to the computer, you have no privacy. Don't even expect it because you have none. So if you want to use the computer and mom's looking, then go ahead and use it. But if you don't feel comfortable with mom seeing what you're doing, then you're not using the computer. That's just plain simple facts. Now,
Mhm.
with Leanne, um, she's 6. Okay, this people are like, oh, she's too young. She should. This is what this is the age group this game was originally made for. It was made for kids. It wasn't made for teenagers. It wasn't made for adults. This was made for kids. It was a kids game, which, like I said, when the YouTubers came in, Mr. Beast even made an ops person, Roblox and everything else. It opened this world up to other people and it became more popular. But Roblox needs to keep in mind your main base and who you make this are kids. So after all this is going on and no moderation, no work on Roblox and everything else, CEO also announces that he's thinking about opening a dating app on Roblox where 60% of your kids are under the age of 16, which I say 16 because in some countries, legal age of being adult is 16. Here in
Mhm.
America, it is 18, but China, places where this is
But yeah, you get
popular
380 million users, and that's not just in the U.S. That's worldwide
worldwide.
for
Well,
sure.
now not so much because once China got word of what was going on, it's banned. I think Guadalajara, also very big in the Roblox community. Once they found out that they're not protecting children, they banned it from their country too. The Attorney General of Louisiana is bringing a lawsuit against them because they're like, you're not keeping our kids safe. She went online into Roblox and found games that have like bathroom simulators. Why is there a bathroom simulator where a child can go into the bathroom with an adult on a kid's game? I mean, what the hell? So I will say I've been keeping an eye, and this, like I said, this is a dirty, dirty rabbit hole to fall down. But I have been keeping an eye on it on Twitter, and it does look like that they're starting to hold some of these creators responsible because you can go, any of us can go into Roblox and create a game. But was kind of like, well, we don't want to punish the creator for what the people in the game are doing. Bullshit. That creator made ways for things like that to happen. They should be responsible for that. If you created a club and you made a private room where you found out kids are going to get naked with adults, you shut it down. You don't make private rooms. You shut the club down. You do something, but it's not just, oh, we'll pretend it's not there until someone complains, you know. So they have gone in, especially like I said, since the attorney general got a hold of this, and they are starting to get some of this up. I honestly think it's a little too late. You allowed this to happen for so long, you know. that I just feel that once the scrutiny falls off of them again, it's just going to go right back to the same way it is, you know.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know what the solution here is. I really don't. Um, I, as a parent and someone who keeps a foot in the kid content world and everything else, I'm sick and tired of grown adults coming in and ruining things for children. You know, originally this was a safe place. Kids could go and have fun and play games and maybe interact with other kids their age. But now, when you throw adults into that mix, you don't know who they're talking to. They could tell you they're 8 and it's actually a 40-year-old woman in Kentucky. You know, it's I don't know what the answer is here. I feel like it's a slippery slope when I don't know. Like I said, I definitely I approve of the cuts that they're making. Um, I've seen people get upset over animations they made where it was an innocent animation, but it could be used wrong, and they're like, well, it's not fair that I'm losing my animation because someone used it wrong. Well, I'm sorry. But when you've got kids in the mix, sometimes things aren't going to be fair or not as black and white when you're dealing with adults. So we'll see. I know their stock took a pretty big pop, but it's already back to where it almost was. So it wasn't enough to shake things up too much at Roblox World. Now the lawsuits coming in, that may change a lot of things, but I don't know. I guess the key thing here is watch what your kids are doing, you know. Um, I know when she plays here, Brandon is right there with her. He's in game. She's playing with him. So he
Hmm.
sees who's around her and that kind of thing. But I came in, I'm watching what she's doing, and she was playing. It was like an art game. And what's sad is Leanne's a very good artist. For 6 years old, she's freaking amazing. But it's kind of like old Microsoft Paint, where you can go in and paint a picture that way. Well, she was painting a picture on a wall, and a guy came in and was like, with spray paint on the wall, I like your drawing. And so she went off to the side and wrote on the wall, thank you. And it just kind of clicked in my head. I have used every parental control that Roblox has given to me at my hands, but I still can't keep people from talking to her, talking to them. Just as simple as painted on the wall. Plus, they said there's instances of dirty pictures being drawn and that kind of thing. So I see that probably going away, which is sad because once again, you have a kid who's really good at it and was using it for the right thing, but you have these adults come in and freaking ruin it, because why? They're sick. Yeah, I don't get it. I guess I'll never understand why anybody would a child ways. I kind of get like when teenagers are around and they're cussing and they think it's funny. I don't think it's funny, you know, but I don't know. So keep an eye on your kids. Uh, Maybe let's turn off Roblox. I've already told her here she can't play unless Brandon's in game with here. I know at home her dad plays with her that way there, but yeah, it's just sick when you think something's okay, you know. I don't understand a company though that would protect predators over the person getting rid of them. That's kind of wow.
That's mysterious. That's for
Yeah,
sure.
Well, they said it was for giving personal information to the cops. This sick individual gave him that personal information on your. Oh, yeah. Like I said, I won't get too far into that because.
Yeah. We don't need
But
to go there, but yeah.
one thing aside of this, though, the kid who was getting people arrested, Chris Hansen has stepped in and he said that he's going to do a whole documentary on the Roblox thing. So we're going to see even more people weeded out of this. But when people would talk to him on Roblox, they would ask him to either go over to Snapchat or Discord. So a lot of these propositions to what they thought was a child is not even being done on because they're talking them off of that platform. And as big of
Which,
a hit that Roblox is taking right now, Discord and Snapchat have been awfully, awfully silent. They're letting them take a big brunt of this, but a lot of this activity was not done on that platform. It was done on these platforms. So I think not only do they need to take a look at Roblox, they need to go into Discord and they need to start moderating and censoring or something because ah you know we can't expect kids to be responsible. We can't. They're kids. That's why we put a legal age on them because their their brains aren't functioning right. They're still growing. They see the good in everybody. It's time for these big companies to step up and get our kids' safety in mind and say, okay, here's what we need to do. You know, for one, if you're under the age of 16, get the fuck off Discord. Sorry, get off Discord. So, but once again, that also kind of falls back into parent your kids. Why does your kid have a Discord account? Why does your kid have a Twitch account? Why does your kid even know what a Snapchat is? You know? So,
well, and I mean, just as an example, I know a, I don't know, 10 or 11-year-old kid who I know has a Discord account. And the reason I know that is because I've talked to him.
mhm,
But you know what? His dad is right there with him the whole time
yeah.
because this is for a game that I play. And I play with both of them
Yeah.
because they both play the game. And
Now, see,
this,
that I can
the dad,
understand.
the dad is watching his kid pretty much the whole time.
Yep. Now, see, that, kind of like what I was saying with Leanne and Brandon, you know,
Hmm.
if you're right there with them, awesome, you know, but it's that one time you're not, you know?
Hmm.
I remember I got in trouble. It wasn't a dirty, actually, it was a Panic Bible. I got in trouble for reading a book and it got taken away from me. Did I quit reading that book? No. They just taught me that I need to hide it better, that I needed to find better ways of getting around them not wanting me to read this. Kids are sneaky. And if you give them that chance, you know, they're going to do it. No matter how good your kid is. I mean, I was a good kid, kind of.
Hmm.
But I mean, when when they get caught, it's not the end. Like I said, that's just when a kid learns, okay, I should have deleted my history or I hid this book, you know, not in my room but in the bathroom or you know, kids are sneaky. So, you know,
Hmm.
be
They
careful.
can be.
Yeah, it's a sick, sick world out there. And one thing I've learned in the last couple of years, nobody is looking out for your child. Nobody. So you better be, because nobody's watching out for them. At least not these big corporations. They're seeing them as dollar signs,
Right.
you
Right.
know?
They're not seeing children, they're
Mm-mm.
seeing money. And
Yep.
there's nothing we can do about that except teach our children how to handle themselves.
Yep. Well, and like I said, it's definitely made me re-examine. I I'm a nerd. I know the internet. I mean, we were the first users of the internet. I know how this
Mm.
works and everything else, but it's not like it used to be, and the world has just gotten sicker, and the internet's just bringing them right into your, you know, and not even the front door. It's bringing it right into your, it past the front door. So be careful.
Hmm.
Like so, we gotta, and always, if you're kind of, if you say something, a lot of these kids, the age dynamic, the power dynamic is forcing them to do things that a normal good kid wouldn't do. So, takes a village. Don't be the village idiot.
Dang. Okay.
Like I said, I hate to bring it up, but I feel like with things that I bring up on the show with kids and that kind of thing, it's definitely, and it's
It's,
not just Roblox. I mean, today it is Roblox, but
it could
it's
be
games
something
like these
closer
in
to.
general.
It could be
Yep,
something closer to someone listening,
yep,
and it could be that way soon. And
yep.
gotta try to be prepared for it.
I have actually heard though, so out of all the negative, when these communities are talking about all the negative going on, and all of them have had one thing in common to say, and they're like, this would not happen on Fortnite. So, parents, if your kids are playing Fortnite, it seems like a pretty safe place to be. So, someone's doing it right. I don't know if that's Sony or Microsoft. I think it's Sony that owns Fortnite.
Ah.
I know it was Besta. I forgot. No, they sold it to Microsoft. So, but yeah. So there's a positive.
Okay.
Yep.
Alrighty, I guess it's my turn. I have a couple of news items. I'm putting them together. It's been kind of a mixed bag, apparently, for Archie Comics. It was just recently announced that there's going to be a movie. It's in production. Chris, what was the names again? I'm sorry, just had it up. Christopher Miller and Phil Lord will be producing it, and they've been behind the Spider-Verse movies as well as others. No word on whether this is live action or animated, but guess who's writing the script?
Who?
Tom King.
Uh-uh.
Oh, cool.
So, if I had to guess, it's probably going to be live action since it's a Tom King project. But who knows? It could be animated. So, um, this follows up on something that first popped up on the website 13th Dimension, which is one of those. It's one of my favorite websites. I post stuff on the Discord all the time. They had mentioned that Archie is introducing a new. It's a new series. It's going to be in a newer format. It's more in the size of like the word puzzle books you'll find like at newsstands or grocery stores, that type of stuff. Um, it's going to be more holiday themed, so it can stay on the stands. First issue's already out.
Hmm.
It's called Archie Comics Digest, and this one's featuring Halloween. So when the next issue comes out, it'll be more Christmas theme. But because of this being this news item being posted, and apparently some other information that has been obtained, the website The Beat has posted that apparently Archie is going to eliminate the digest format. They're moving to where it's going to be books like this. If there's even others. And Archie rarely does comics now. I mean, they've kind of jumped on board with the facsimile editions, and there's been one shots. We just had one where Archie meets Jay and Silent Bob, which that's got to be interesting.
I mean, yeah.
And stuff like that, but they're not really doing comic books, and now they're supposedly eliminating digest other than this new holiday format thing. So it just kind of makes you wonder what's going on with Archie.
It does.
Agree.
Like I think it's the October solicits had just a facsimile and then one digest. So 2 items. And this is from a company that was putting out at least a digest every week.
Right. Not to mention a significant amount of Halloween material, which you'd think they would drop in October.
Yeah. And it sounds like from what I've been reading about this new book is there's no original content. It's all reprints, and then they're actually adding like some puzzle pages. So it's almost like all they're the only expenses that are doing is maybe a new cover, and then the cost of actually producing the stuff. So it's so they're eliminating like all the creators. I'm not sure what's going on.
That seems weird.
So I don't know. And the thing is no one else has jumped on this. It's only been the Beat that's posted a couple news items on it, but it seems like no one else is covering it. So I was kind of waiting on it. I was going to do this last week when we were going to do an episode, but I was like, let me hold off and see if someone else like Newsarama or Bleeding Cool, because God knows Bleeding Cool puts out stuff that's rumored stuff.
Yeah.
But just
They like the doom.
but no one else is covering it, so it's kind of weird what's going on here. So maybe we'll find out more, maybe we won't. So just stay tuned to that.
Yeah.
That was Michelle's favorite comic.
Well, the thing about Archie's, the things and I hadn't read any in a bit, but the thing about that was picking them up every once in a while. It's a nice palate cleanser.
Yeah.
After reading all this other stuff that's kind of grim, violent, just or real world stuff, or just all this other stuff. Here you come, and here's a story. It's a simple story. It's a simpler time. Even
Quick
to the point of
read.
the art and all that, and it's just kind of a nice little okay. That's a nice little refresher, and then I can go back to reading the other stuff.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was her way of understanding my world. Was something she liked. That's the only thing
Yeah.
she read.
Oh, I would really hate for this. I would really hate for this publisher to go away.
Me too.
But someone, if it does happen, someone's going to pick up the IP. You know that.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. So Archie's been around since 1939.
Yep, 80 years.
Right. And they've had valid stuff in different media forms in the last 10 years.
Yep.
They've been doing stuff. It's not like they haven't been using the IP.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, they just had that TV show too, didn't they?
Yeah, they just had Riverdale.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so who knows? Who knows?
Yeah,
Who
weird.
knows?
It is.
So, alrighty. Any special shout outs or mentions this week?
No.
No, not me.
Not here.
Okay, well, we'll just move on to the regular shout outs. Want to thank Pop Goes to Culture for allowing us to be part of a great little podcast network. Recommend you check out these shows as well. There will be a link in the show notes. I also want to thank the fine men and women who retweet our links on Twitter. They're better known as Potter and Family. Best way to check them out is to do a search, hashtag Potter and Family, and just scroll through, and whatever catches your eye, by all means, go check out their show. We hope you have a great time listening to them. I want to thank Manny the Martyr for supplying the music to the podcast. There'll be a link in the show notes where you can check out some of their other pieces of music. And finally, you, dear listener, thank you for downloading and listening to today's episode. We value your feedback. Emails can be sent to email@thefellowshipofthegeeks.net, or you can go to the website, go to the About Us page, and there's a contact form you can fill out there. Just mention that we do have a Discord that's free to join. Sign up for Discord is free. The apps are free in the app stores. We do have an open invitation on our homepage. Just click on that, and that'll take you over, and you can join in. We post a lot of news items, stuff to look at, stuff to laugh at, stuff to listen to. We'll have some activities on there, such as movie nights or whatever. So if you want to come hang out with us, by all means do so. In terms of social media, we're on Facebook, the Fellowship of the Geeks, on Instagram, Twitter, and Blue Sky. We're at Fellowship Geeks. If you'd like to follow our personal Twitter accounts, Mike can be found at Mikey Geek. Liz can be found at LN_geek. Les may or may not be found at Fake Les Webster. And I can be found at Tom TC Geek. And from wherever you download our episodes, if you be so kind as to rate and review the show, it would be greatly appreciated. Anything else before we say goodbye?
Just thanks, everybody.
Everybody.
Thanks for listening.
We appreciate you listening, everybody. We appreciate the support as always. Until next time, geek on, my friends.
We thank you for listening to the show. Comments, suggestions, and questions can be sent to email@thefellowshipofthegeeks.net. You can follow us on Facebook at The Fellowship of the Geeks and on Twitter at Fellowship Geeks. Until next time,